Hey, good morning, y'all. This is Jeff again with some horseback wisdom. Real quick, I just wanted to bring something to you, man, that I heard this morning, and it was taught by a gentleman by the name of Paul Gauci. He has a program called Back to Eden, and he has a book was written about it. It's called Growing Food God's Way, and I'm telling you, it's just awesome. It has revolutionized a lot of the things I do out here on my farm. But I wanted to share something with you that he said this morning. It just blew my mind. He said Psalms 1, he read it. Blessed is the person who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. And he said that's the American school system and our universities. And wow, is he right? Where will you get more ungodly counsel than in the American school system right now? And that's what a shame that during the 1960s, our education department was taken over by Satan and was allowed to do that, to remove the foundation of all education, which is God. You know, so many people don't even know that our entire system of law is based on the Bible. Go back and look. The English common law from which our system is derived was completely based on the Bible. And that's what allowed William Wilberforce to begin ending slavery in England before the United States, because he used the scriptures. And folks, I'm just telling you, stay away from ungodly counsel. Stay away from the garbage advertising that you see on TV, advertising organic food delivered to your house. That's what comes out of the tail end of a cow. That's baloney. None of that stuff is organic. It's all processed. It's all irradiated, because the Food and Drug Administration would shut down their business if they didn't do all those things. Organic food, and I'm going to do a tour real soon of our farm, is what you pull out of the ground, wipe off the dirt, and eat it. That's organic food. That doesn't have chemicals sprayed on it. It doesn't have herbicides and pesticides sprayed on it. There are so many naturally occurring products that will allow you to get rid of deer and pests, and that you don't need to use those things, but they make huge amounts of money for the chemical companies. Gosh, I just went from education to the chemical companies. Why? Because the counsel of the wicked. Folks, if you have your kids in public school right now, they're sitting in the counsel of the ungodly and the wicked. They're sitting in the seats of scorners. Those liberal teachers that are in their classrooms are teaching them ungodly stuff. Now, are all teachers like that? No. I was a school teacher. There are many wonderful, amazing school teachers, but there are also many ungodly, wicked school teachers. And are you willing to roll the dice to find out which one you're going to get? I wouldn't be. You can make all kinds of excuses, but folks, at the end of life, as parents, we're going to be responsible for what we did with our children. God's going to hold me accountable and say, Jeff, why did you do this? Why didn't you do this? Why did you teach your kids this? Why didn't you teach them this? And I'm going to have to answer for that. By grace, Jesus will be there as my advocate, but I'm still going to have to answer for it. And so are you, whether you believe it or not. So get your kids out of the counsel of the ungodly. If you're having your kids raised by television, that's the counsel of the ungodly. If you're letting your kids be raised by TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, that for sure is the counsel of the ungodly. Get them out of that, folks. Your kids will thank you when they're adults. They will thank you for that. Mine do. Now, my kids all went and graduated from major U.S. universities. And I talked to them about the counsel of the ungodly during the whole time they were there. And Some of the things they learned, I wish they hadn't learned. Some of the experiences they had, I wish they hadn't had. But they were adults, and that was the choice they made. And we supported them in that, and they had a foundation in God, so they knew what the ungodly counsel was. They knew what the wicked counsel was. Folks, ask yourself today, where am I getting my counsel from? Is it coming from a plastic and metal box that sits in my living room that I push a button on? Is it coming from a cellular phone that tells me what to think, what to buy, how to live, who to be in a relationship with, what's important? Is that how you are getting your counsel? Because none of that stuff is godly, right? Where does godly counsel come from? It comes from this, the Word of God, and from other believers, right? I don't care, doesn't matter. What I care doesn't matter. But what God cares does matter. If someone comes to you and says, I'll give you an example. I was at an international phytochemical medical conference many years ago. And there was a gentleman there that had 7 earned degrees, including 4 terminal degrees. He had a PhD, a JD, an MD, and some other D. This guy had more education than anyone I could even imagine. He was brilliant, but he wasn't a believer. So if he came to me and said, here's some advice, I would not take it. Now, he's got all the education in the world, but that's the problem. That doesn't mean he's a horrible person. That doesn't mean he's not a genius in his medical field. But whatever he tells you, you had better run it by the Word of God. And just to leave off with this, one of the things that I was taught as a kid was I could avoid a lot of problems in life if I would just learn from the mistakes of other people. I'm not the smartest person that ever lived, I'll admit that. But I can watch you fall in a hole and not walk over that same hole. I can watch you fall off a ladder and not climb up that same ladder. I'm that smart. So if you see people that are living in the world who have these tremendous falls, and they all do, that ought to tell you that the wisdom you get should come from somewhere else. God's wisdom is eternal. So do not walk in the counsel of the ungodly or the wicked. Don't sit around with people that are scornful and bitter. And delight yourself in the law of God, the words of God, because that will prosper you. You will be blessed. And I hope you are blessed. Love you. Have a great day.